It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
It is December the 9th. We are just snowballing right towards the holidays. We're picking up steam, rolling along. We got the weekend behind us. Let's get right to it. How about your top 5 at 6 to kick off the work week? Here's 5 stories we think kind of, they jumped out to us anyway. We think you might want to know these moving forward. A tour announcement came in over the weekend. The Brotherhood of Rock Tour is taking place next summer. It stars Styx and Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles, along with Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon. Now, if you remember a few months ago, REO Speedwagon announced they're pulling the plug. They're done. Irreconcilable differences between Kevin Cronin and bassist Bruce Hall. And then the keyboardist retired, and then they said, oh, screw it, we're finished. So who's going to be on stage with Kevin Cronin, you ask? The exact band that was touring a few months ago is REO Speedwagon. It's Kevin Cronin and Dave and Brian and Derek and Matt, the guys that are REO Speedwagon. They are now touring as simply Kevin Cronin. Some sort of contractual obligation. I guess the bassist Bruce Hall had a claim to the name. It's if you've seen REO Speedwagon in the last few years, it's the same exact band, but now it's called just simply Kevin Cronin, and it's on the Brotherhood of Rock Tour. Doesn't sound like a lot of brotherhood going on in the REO Speedwagon camp, but we'll see. You know what? Like they always say, and hey, listen, I'm here to tell you, bands are fun.
I mean, REO Speedway, I'd say this sounds like a good $25 ticket, right?
I would imagine so.
I mean, who the hell would pay more than that for that bill?
Well, you know, the thing I saw on Facebook when the announcement was made on the on a page, I think it was actually on the Styx page, but then there were hundreds of comments, fans very upset about this, saying Kevin's greedy, Kevin, I'll never see the band again. The first comment I saw, I kid you not, said, I've seen REO Speedwagon over 100 times, but never again. And I just thought, wow.
Taking a stand.
Man, getting after it. I mean, I was in a band for almost 30 years. I'm no longer in that band. When people go see the band that I'm no longer in, I'm like, great, go for it. I don't care. I left. It's over. I mean, just, listen, if you love music, go see music. It's simple. Yeah. Really. If you care who's up on stage, that's great for you. But the guys in the band don't. Trust me, they don't care.
No,
they're riding the storm out, whatever that storm is.
Yeah, roll with the changes, man.
There you go. I knew there was one I was looking for. Number 4 in your top 5 and 6, Delta Airlines has done a huge favor for one of their customers, a guy named John Andre. What originally probably looked to him like a problem, trust me, they're doing you a favor, dude. John Andre had a little problem with some of his baggage, specifically some golf clubs. I believe we have a little bit of John talking about what went down.
Then I realized when it came around again, oh my God, these are my clubs. The freight guy said they dragged it. Of course, they wore through the protective covering. Then they started to spark. Then it caught everything on fire. We have to make it right. And in that case, that means writing a check for the value of the clubs. That's all we're asking for. We got a phone call from Delta, and miracle of miracles, they apologize, and they're going to pay the claim in full.
They destroyed your golf clubs, dude. Get out. You're free. Escape the hell that is golf.
Well, maybe they're giving him the $4,000, right? Maybe he doesn't have to go out and buy another set of $4,000 for golf clubs.
That's
I paid
insane.
$600, and I couldn't even bring myself to throw them in the creek last time I duffed a drive.
Let me ask you this. He said that when during, he checked his clubs, and then at some point on the tarmac, they dragged them around.
Yeah.
The protective covering was worn through, and then it started to spark. How fast do you have to drag a golf club for it to spark? Did they hook it up behind one of the jets? What the hell happened?
I don't know, but it's brilliant. I kind of want to drag my golf clubs out of the next golf course parking lot that I go to. Man, I'll let you know. I'm thinking about 40, 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, let's see what happens. And you're right. I mean, are they going to follow him into the golf shop and watch him cover the check, or did he just make $4,000 to give up a curse that is the game of golf? Number 3 on your top 5 and 6. Hey, good news for the Gophers. University of Minnesota football is headed to the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mayo as in mayonnaise. Duke's mayonnaise.
Yeah.
They call it the Mayo Bowl because the mayonnaise bowl is a bit too weird. So that's nice to come and play Virginia Tech out of the ACC. This is, I believe, this will be the 6th bowl game in 8 seasons under PJ Fleck, and he is 5-0 in his bowl games. That's kind of exciting, I guess. The Mayo Bowl. It's January 3rd. It's a Friday.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, something. They finished the season 7-5. That's bowl eligible. Of course, nowhere near the college bowl playoff of 12 teams announced for the first time. Alabama on the outside looking into that one, which is hilarious to me. Just as a guy who spent a lot of years in the South, I love seeing Alabama sitting outside watching. But for the Gophers, they're going to be playing, as I said, Virginia Tech. I think with PJ Fleck, he's a good coach. They have a solid program, and they're basically saying to the world, as long as PJ Fleck's the coach, we're cool with where we are.
Yeah, well, they've been saying that for the last 60 years. I don't know, since they won a national championship in 1941, before face masks, I think.
Happy to be an above 500 team.
Yeah.
And why not? You know what? We got a great city here, a lot of good people. It could be worse. I guess that's the mindset.
They're going to dump Mayo on somebody. Like this is the point of the Mayo Bowl is they dump Mayo on the head coach.
That's
I
think it's going to be Fleck.
You're right. I would play harder if I was the player that got to dump Mayo on my head. The kids get to go to a bowl game, they get to play a little more football, and the parents get to travel in boosters, and why not? It's good for everyone.
Congrats, Gophers. Go get some mayonnaise under your fingernails, would you? Number 2 on your top 5 and 6. I would never have believed a couple years ago how many times we'd be talking about these damn ruby red slippers from the Wizard of Oz. But just to quickly remind you, these things were at the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. One of the pairs of ruby red slippers from the film, stolen in 2005, recovered in 2018. A bizarre story where a gangster thought they actually were encrusted with real rubies.
Yeah.
No, ruby is an adjective. It's a way to describe the red, not the product itself. Stolen and then by a thief who then realized, oh crap, these things are only worth whatever someone wants to pay for sentimental value. Well, that number we now know because those recovered slippers went up for auction Saturday. $28 million.
I'm rich. You're not.
Yeah.
Heritage Auctions, they estimated they would go for at least $3 million. It went for $28 million. That is insanity.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say, much like that guy, the cyber dude that ate the banana. Remember, bought the banana that was duct taped to the... this guy's going to eat these slippers, I guess.
I guess so, man. It's... I wonder if they still smell like Judy Garland's feet. Maybe that's what this is. This is a foot fetish.
Maybe they smell like Judy Garland's feet smell now.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive purchase price for any movie memorabilia. I mean, what does Darth Vader's original helmet go for? If this is $28 million, there's some tech bro Star Wars dorks that'll go $100 million for the original Darth Vader helmet.
Yeah, for sure.
Want to say good morning to River Falls, Wisconsin, right across the old border over there. In between Prescott and Hastings, a little east. Come on, River Falls. Good to see you.
I was just there in September. Yeah, only 284 days until the next Bacon Bash in River Falls, Wisconsin.
Oh, hell yeah. Come on, man. I have not. This just reminds me. I'm really not having enough bacon these days.
All right. Well, we'll get the gang together in the van and truck on over there next year. Always a good time.
The number 1 story on your top 5 and 6. Good God Almighty, Sam Darnold. The Vikings with a 42-21 win yesterday, putting them at 11-2. Let's see, 347 yards. 5 touchdowns for Sam Darnold. Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson had all 5 touchdowns, 265 yards combined, 15 catches. I believe it was Cinderella in the late 80s, the rock band Cinderella. Remember they had that song, You Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone? The original lyric, I just read this, was you don't know what you got till it's gone unless we're talking about Kirk Cousins. Then you know what you have and you're happy to see him gone. Kirk with a couple of spectacular interceptions yesterday.
Yeah.
Not the kind of game he was hoping for. Falcons kept it close for a while, but my God, it didn't feel that close. And then the Vikings just blew them away in the fourth quarter.
Eric, by the way, my buddy, I'm still waiting for your text. I know you listen, and I know you get up early. Still waiting for your text. You didn't respond because he's been busting my balls all season because I kept saying, who would you rather have, Darnold or Cousins this year? And he insisted, no, Cousins. We'd be doing even better if Cousins was here. But, Eric, yeah, haven't heard back from you, buddy. Here's Coach O'Connell and a little bit of our quarterback.
I've been on one now for a few weeks, and he just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And now if people don't understand now, I don't know what to tell you. All right? First Vikings quarterback in 20 years to throw 5 touchdowns. Because he was 22 of 28 for 347, making plays all day long, leading us to a win again. 1-0 today. Win number 11. You guys are a special group. Sam Darnold right there.
Like I continue to say, man, just our fans, the way that they were able to bring that energy today was incredible.
Right on, Sam Darnold. The 11-2 Vikings host the Chicago Bear Cubs Monday Night Football. In case you didn't see the Bears yesterday, you know how a lot of times you replace a coach mid-season, they have what you call new coach energy? Yeah, the Bears missed that memo. In San Francisco at halftime, the Niners had 319 total yards.
Oh,
the Bears had 4.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, heading in the right direction, yeah.
I'm not making that up. 315-yard differential was the largest of any NFL game this season at halftime.
Wow.
One of the largest ever, of course. 4 yards to 315. Welcome to Minnesota next Monday night, Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Looking forward to having you. There's your top 5 at 6. Let's clean out some Monday morning leftovers. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
We always have a few stories we don't get to over the course of a week, and we like to give you a chance before they're gone forever to let us know what you want to hear about. So I'm going to give you a few headlines. I'll give you a key word associated with each. You can hit us on the KQ Talk and Text line to let us know which stories you want next. That's how it works. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line. Let us know what you want to hear about. Number 1 on your Monday morning leftover. A Florida teacher was arrested after he was found naked in school. It's never
emotionally?
It's never the teacher you want. I know that much.
Yeah.
The key word there, naked. If you want to hear that story, lay it on us, naked. Another story. A study has now proven that the way you handle pulling up to a red light and the spacing in between cars, whatever you think you know, you don't know. That story, light. If you want to hear about how much space to leave in front of the car, between you and the car in front of you, I should say, text the word light. Here's another story. Very, very appropriate right now. How to pet-proof your Christmas tree. Pet-proof the tree. The word tree. Text that to 651-989-ROCK. How about this? Sam's Club has got a holiday hot dog monstrosity. Oh, good God almighty. It looks like something. The word to text, if you want to hear that story, is simply hot dog.
This one's almost as gross as the naked teacher. It is the wrong
really
combo of sweet and savory.
I don't know what's going on at Sam's Club, but I think someone has a head injury over there. The next one on your Monday morning leftovers. Scientists, oceanographers, if you will, are baffled as orcas, killer whales. Orcas seem to have been reviving an old trend from the 80s, and it's not cocaine at a discotheque. You're going to want to hear about that. The word whale. Text whale if you want to hear what those throwback killer whales are up to. How about this one? A venomous tiger snake shows up in a car while it's moving on the freeway. That's a story I already don't need to know anything about. But if you need to know about it, text the word snake. If you want to make me a little queasy, SNAKE is your text. And then finally, a mom with a child whose life was apparently saved from a stranger's comment. Just a guy passing by said, oh, hey, by the way, this is a kind of a crazy story. If you want to know how a stranger's comment saved a kid's life, text the word stranger. There you go, 651-989-ROCK. You got your story headlines. You got your keywords. Let us know what it is you want to know, and we'll lay it on you.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's a perfect time on a Monday morning to look back on this day in 1941. This was, of course, 2 days after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. 23-year-old Bob Feller of the Cleveland Indians, the 25-game winner, the reigning strikeout king, became the first Major League player to volunteer for active duty. Feller was the greatest pitcher of his era, and he lost 4 of his playing years in his prime to go support the cause, to serve in the armed forces during World War II. And, of course, he still made the Hall of Fame. Bob Feller, baller. What a dude he was.
Yeah. How about that?
Dig that, man. 1977 on this day. I remember this like it was yesterday. In one of the most horrific moments in NBA history, a player named Kermit Washington for the Lakers punched forwards Rudy Tomjanovich of the Houston Rockets. It wasn't just any punch. Kermit Washington was scrapping with another guy on the court, Rockets center Kevin Cunnert. Rudy Tomjanovich ran up behind, fully intending to try to break the fight up, but Kermit saw him out of the corner of his eye and swung, and with all of the weight in his hips, threw a wrecking ball right straight into Rudy Tomjanovich's face. He collapsed on the ground. It broke his nose, fractured his skull, damaged his teeth, and Rudy Tomjanovich was leaking blood and spinal fluid from his brain.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Quite sincerely could have died, almost did. He was a mess for a long time. He missed the rest of that season, in fact. A suit, the Lakers ended up paying $3.2 million to Rudy Tomjanovich back in the day. Kermit Washington was given a $10,000 fine. That's a lot of money in 77, and a 26-game suspension. The two men made up. Kermit Washington was never known as a bad guy, ever. And then this really was the scarlet letter for years. But they put it behind them, and Rudy Tomjanovich, of course, a championship coach in his own right after he retired, and all was well. But I will tell you this, in 1977, the word at school, did you see the punch? Did you see the punch? And then, of course, at basketball practice, we all reenacted the punch in slow motion, because that's what you do in 7th grade when you have nothing else going on in your life. On this day in 1984, the Chicago Bears, pretty good team that year, if you remember. They went 15-1 and won a World Series, won the Super Bowl. On this day, they played the Green Bay Packers. Jim McMahon was injured. Backup Steve Fuller was injured. So they were playing third-string quarterback Rusty Lish. The reason you don't remember Rusty Lish is he was awful. But you might remember that Mike Ditka was so frustrated with Rusty Lish in this game that in the second quarter, Mike Ditka put Walter Payton in at quarterback.
Oh, yeah, the old Wildcat.
Yeah, Walter Payton. It's weird. You can find those highlights. He threw 2 passes. One was, they were both caught. One was caught by the Packers. It was an interception. But the other was a 2-yard touchdown toss to Matt Shuey. So, hey, when you're in a pinch, just call Sweetness. He'll fix whatever's ailing you. That's insane.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, December the 9th. A little Van Halen right there, rocking You Really Got Me by the Kinks. Before that, Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses just announced a summer tour for 2025. They took 24 off. They put up the dates for 2025. And let's see, the first show, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Not going to make that one. Nothing. I think the closest one to here I see is probably London in England. Yeah, they're bouncing all over the other part of the globe next year. Maybe some U.S. dates announced. We will, of course, let you know if that happens. I would love to give, as right now, a morning shout-out Let's go up north a little bit. Stacy, Minnesota. Good morning, Stacy.
Stace, Sports Bar and Grill. They got that up there. I know that.
They do. Sure they do.
And the, what's that river that runs right through town? I love it. It's a Sunrise River.
What doesn't that just sound bucolic and idyllic?
Sunrise River spills right into Mud Lake.
As it should.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure it goes right in. I know it goes over to the Stacy Dam. I don't know what that lake's called, but right there in Stacy is Mud Lake. You get some crappies on the wind-blown side if you want.
Wow, fair enough, man. That's Captain Stacy right here. I appreciate that, Zepp. Good morning to everybody up there. So Monday Morning Leftovers, we gave y'all, our listeners, the chance to text into the KQ Talk and text line. Let us know the 3 stories you're most interested to hear. And number 1 was the story about a stranger. I gave you the headline, a stranger's comment led to a little baby being saved. This is a bizarre one to me for a lot of reasons. A woman and her husband and their 6 children were at a theme park in Florida, in Lake Alfred, Florida. The less of which you know about, probably the better. 6 children, including a 6-week-old son. So
wow,
you got 5 kids who are, I guess, walking around on their own. Then you've got a 6-week-old at a theme park. I'm sorry, man. That's early for a theme park visit, isn't it? Don't you think?
No grandparents to drop them off with. That does seem early, yeah.
Man, but regardless, they're at the theme park. They're having a good old time, and a gentleman walks up and he goes, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry to interrupt. He introduces himself and says he's a first responder, and he said, you know, I'm checking out this baby you're holding, and he's jaundiced." Jaundiced, as in one of those words that no matter who you are, when someone says the word jaundiced, don't you have a quick that's problematic. Oh, you mean this baby's yellow skin? Yeah, we noticed. The mom said, no, his pediatrician said this is no big deal. And the first responder said, well, no, that's legitimately jaundiced. You might really want to go get some blood work done. And the woman's like, well, his doctor said, he just said to get him out in the sun.
What?
I think that's consumption, isn't it?
I guess her doctor was also doing time at a liquor store when they caught up with him. She took her baby to a different doctor, and then it was determined the child was suffering from a very significant issue called Alagille syndrome, a genetic disorder that affects the liver and the heart. And that jaundice thing, and by the way, this woman was on Good Morning America discussing it. Her baby was not kind of jaundiced. Her baby was flat out jaundiced. Looked like, if you've ever known anybody with liver problems and seen this, it's a jarring sight. And with a brand new baby, kind of mind-boggling. 6 weeks old at a theme park. On top of that, jaundiced. Some people really should stop at 5 kids, I guess is what this is telling us. The one hasn't had a good night's sleep in quite a while.
Here's Mom.
Passing through, I noticed there was a guy to my right. And before I walked out of the store, he intercepted us. He mentioned he was a first responder. He said he noticed Lincoln and how very jaundiced he was. Just thought it might be a good idea for Lincoln to get some medical attention. It was a tough thing to go through, but because of that one small thing that he did, look at how much of an impact he had on Lincoln, on our family.
Reason number 38, I would not be a good first responder. That's none of my business. I'm not on the clock. They'll be fine. Right. Look at all the kids. They've got one to spare.
I have a buddy who's a dog trainer. He knows more about dogs than people. And I've been with him, and you see a dog acting up, and I'm always like, dude, go do something. He's like, no, I don't care. It's not my dog. No one's paying me to train that animal. Like, man, if I could control every dog I saw, you'd never get it. I'd be having people, dude, get away from my dog. Sorry, I'm just a little bit more in touch with this dog's needs than you are. That's just me. Number 2, a story that you wanted to hear about. I mentioned that studies have been done regarding when we pull up to a red light or a stop sign, how much space we should leave between us and the car in front of us. I'm a big believer in just pile right in, sardine those bad boys. The closer we get to each other, the more cars can blast through that left turn light, the more cars you can get involved in. I just feel like in my mind, it always moves things better if we don't leave a lot of space. apparently I'm pointless with my particular road rage and bitching about people because studies have shown it makes no difference how close the cars in front of you are. When trying to do this, researchers at Virginia Tech, they were looking for the optimal distance. So that the whole point is this. What's the distance to ensure the most number of people get through the light when it turns green? That's what they're trying to solve. A bunch of when cars were bumper to bumper, all closer at the intersection, it takes longer for them all to accelerate because you got to wait for the guy in front of you to move first. If you put 1 foot between cars, 6 feet between cars, and even 25 feet between cars, it's the same number of people get through each time. It made no difference until the cars were over 25 feet apart. So I'm going to have to rethink 40 years of bitching at my fellow drivers for not getting close enough. Sorry, everybody I'm mad at all the damn time. I didn't realize.
That's why we're getting close. Let's not forget the therapeutic reasons behind getting right up on someone's ass, making that contact and making them feel a little uncomfortable.
Sure.
I had a buddy, Mike. I still do, I guess. Just haven't seen him in several years. Psycho from the middle of Wisconsin, a little town called Friendship, which is ironic because he's less friendly than I am.
Right.
But he would always had an old Blazer and would just rear end people. Just would come right up on him and wham, just run right into him. I mean, he was a linebacker for the University of Minnesota as well. So I think he wanted them to get out of their car.
Sure.
But they never did. Yeah. They would just sit there and he would just, run into him. I'd be like, Mike, could you not do that while I'm in the car?
If I got rear-ended by a Chevy Blazer and I looked in the rear view like, what the hell? And the guy's just staring at me, I'd probably stay in the car too. If the guy's like, oh, I'm so sorry. If he's not doing that, if he's giving me the look, I'd be like, oh, he meant to do that. And I'm probably just going to drive away when the light turns green.
Yeah, I hope Mike's happier. I heard he got married, so probably not.
I used to, I had an old Dodge Dart back in the day, and I didn't run into other cars, but I hit more dumpsters per square mile. If there was a dumpster in a parking lot, I was running into it. It was just nonstop.
The light poles in the middle of the parking lots, for crying out loud. I've backed into a few of those. Don't.
Hey, man, we recorded me running into a dumpster on the first Black Crowes record. You can hear it on the album.
Yeah?
There's a song called Thick and Thin, and the intro to that song is me screaming into the parking lot of the studio, slamming on my brakes, and smashing into a dumpster.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's amazing. I did it 6 times. We took the best one. Yeah, it was important. It was all about the esprit de corps. Put everybody in a good mood when you ram a dumpster in the parking lot of the studio.
No damage to the dumpster, I bet.
Oh, God, no. Of course not. And absolutely no damage to that Dodge Dart. That thing you couldn't hurt that thing to save your life.
Nice.
The other story we're going to get to, I mentioned killer whales, orcas. Here's a weird one. Some scientists in Washington State have noticed orcas doing something they haven't seen since the 1980s. And it's this. This is a wild one. In the 1980s, a bunch of people observed orcas would be swimming in the ocean with salmon balanced on their head, a dead salmon. They called it, back in the 80s, oceanographers called it dead salmon hat.
Oh, that's fun.
That's what they would see. They were like, they figured that it was like they would somehow get these salmon and they would save them for snacks as they were swimming across the ocean, and they could somehow put them on their head and they would stick to the orca's head.
Like the beef jerky in my front pocket.
That's exactly what it is. So in 1987, it was first documented a female orca off there was wearing a salmon hat, and it went on for months. These oceanographers are keeping tabs, and then all of a sudden, a few other orcas started doing the exact same thing. Like they just
human beings.
Orca see, orca do, as you will. And then by 1988, never again. But then now, all these years later, bang, they're seeing orcas with salmon hats swimming around in the Puget Sound out in Washington State.
It's fashion. It's cyclical, isn't it? Just the other day, I saw a gal walking around with a blazer and those shoulder pads in them.
No.
I was like, there it is. Yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. I'm with you, Ryder. I just put on a John Hughes movie, and it just, of all the things, the hair, really, the lip gloss is always like the thing from the 80s where I'm just like, oh my God, why was lip gloss such a thing? But then those shoulder pads, good God almighty. I had a jacket that I remember at some point putting on a jacket that had pads, and I was like, what, is this wait, dudes do this? And someone had to explain to me, like, yeah, it's a whole thing, and now women are doing it. It was just upsetting to me. 80s clothing, 80s clothing generally, I'll like break out in hives if I look back through the old family photos. I don't know what we were thinking, but the worst part is that I was always at least 2 years behind whatever was happening. Oh. So not only did I look terrible 2 years after everyone else looked terrible.
That's what people give me grief about, only wearing flannel shirts, but I think they're timeless. Yeah, I know grunge sort of ruined it because it became a fashion trend there for a while. People are like, grunge is over. I'm like, I've been wearing these things long before grunge, and I'm not giving up my mullet either. Or my salmon hat.
Business up front, salmon hat party in the back.
Yeah.
That's the Zepp look right there. There's your Monday morning leftovers. Here's a great story for you. Yet another school has served notice to the community at large that they know nothing about children. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, December the 9th. Led Zeppelin's Fool in the Rain. I remember not that long ago, I was online and I looked at a YouTube link and, just in the feed, it suggested something and it was Dave Matthews Band performing that song. And before I could think clearly, I clicked on the link.
Oh, no.
Oh, what was I thinking? No. I had to go back and put that one on to cleanse the palate, as they say. Just one of those moments in time you never really remember. You never really forget, I should say. That was a pretty tough one. We all have memories of school, to school years, the days. We look back at times. A lot of rules in school, and that makes sense. You've got a bunch of kids. You got to have rules. You got to have straight lines. You can't give kids too much leeway. But then again, sometimes there are rules where, especially if we look back on our childhood school days, you're like, what were they thinking? And every now and again, now we see a school put something into play where you just think to yourself, do you guys know how kids work? Do you know anything about children? And I will say this, if you're dealing with a stupid rule at a school right now, feel free to share it with us. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and or text line, either as a parent or a grandparent or as a student yourself. Yeah, you could be dealing with something and just kind of, grinds your gears a little bit. This one coming from Conroe, Texas. When you hear about a school in Texas doing something wrong, right away I'm always like, ooh, this will be good. This is pretty spectacular. An elementary school, Barrett Elementary in Conroe, had a little bit of an issue. One of the first grade teachers decided that the kids needed to learn accountability and responsibility. So in order to use the restroom at this school, you have to be given a restroom pass from the teacher. Apparently, somehow the pass was lost. Somebody misplaced it. And this teacher thought, I'm going to give these first graders a lesson in accountability. We'll just not let anybody go to the bathroom. And not just for a little while, for a long while. One of the students was asked about what was going on, and this is what she had to say.
Miss Barrera took it away from us, and my friends need to go potty really bad. Some people were crying to death to go to the bathroom.
So initially we were told 2. After we, as parents, got into a group and started talking more, it has come down to there's about 6 who actually soiled themselves and had accidents.
Oh,
6 kids sitting in a first grade classroom, soiling and peeing themselves. This is from a little before noon until the end of the day, about 3:30. Yeah. This is 3.5, 4 hours of kids being told, nope, can't do it. And by the way, when these kids were peeing and pooing themselves, they weren't calling in, the maintenance to come clean it up. There were kids sitting at their desks, just sitting in their own pee, puddles on the floor. Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours of this.
That's not funny.
No, it's terrible.
It is terrible.
And freaking teachers got to clean this stuff up.
Yeah.
We had a situation. Our kids went to a school that we thought very highly of, but over the course of, and it was a K through 12. It was one school the whole way. But every now and again, you'd bump heads with a teacher, and I mean, as you might expect. And when Connell was in third grade, he got in big trouble for jumping up in the middle of class and just running to the bathroom without asking permission and without saying it. He just jumped up and ran. And his teacher really went off on him for that. And long story short, we go in to have a meeting because it's such a big deal. And she's explaining the situation and then Connell had already been telling us my teacher hates me. And we're like, no, she doesn't hate you. And then, no, she really dislikes me. And our initial reaction, by the way, we're the kind of parents, initial reaction is, well, buddy, it's her classroom. She's in charge. You have to figure out how to, make it work for you. We're not the kind of parents who immediately go, our son is perfect. How dare you? It got there, though, because we went in to have a meeting with this woman for the first time. And we said, hey, so apparently he went to the bathroom without permission or something. And this woman looked right at us. She goes, oh, he certainly did. He thinks he can just do whatever he wants. I mean, she just rolled on how he thinks he's all this and that. She's talking about like an 8-year-old boy. He thought he could do this, and he was just trying to put it in my face that he didn't have to get permission. And at one point, Rosemary goes, well, did you ask him why he did that? And she goes, he said something about it was an emergency. And Rosemary goes, did you ever think maybe it was an emergency?
Yeah.
He didn't want to take a dump in his pants in class. Yeah. And because he's 8, he thought he could hold it and then realized he couldn't. And instead of crapping himself, he ran to the bathroom. It got off. Don't accuse Rosemary Gorman's son of being a thug when all he's really trying to do is not soil himself. Whew. That was a tough lesson learned that day.
I don't know who learned the lesson. Hopefully the teacher learned the lesson.
Yeah,
probably not.
You're probably right. But then she did. It was a weird thing though to be sitting in a room with a woman who then was kind of all but saying to us, yeah, you know what? I really don't like your kid. I don't know. There's just something about him. She could have just come right out and said, I don't like the cut of his jib. I mean, just say it. What's wrong? He's never had a problem otherwise. Every other teacher gets along fine with him. It was a weird one.
That is a weird one.
Little kids in bathrooms, there should just be like, hell, as far as I'm concerned, you should teach class in the bathroom. They gotta go. Just make it easier on yourself. Give every kid a stall and pipe in the lesson. Let them sit there and take care of business.
Yeah, well, just give them those potty chairs on their little desks right there. Just make it a potty chair. It'll be fun. I remember when Taylor took her first swim class, she got in the pool. Mm-hmm. And then she got out of the pool. She had to pee. So her swim instructor takes her to the bathroom and brings her back. And she gets in the water. 1010. She has to pee. She takes her to the bathroom. This went on for about 5 times. I get out. And it's the first one. It's my first kid's first swim class. So I'm watching like that dumbass dad. I decide to go down there and I say, to the young lady giving the instruction, I'm like, yeah, I think she's had enough pee breaks. Just let her sit in the pool.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. She went honestly, this Taylor was like, this is a game. I can make this monkey dance every time I want to go to the bathroom. And I get to get out of this freezing ass cold pool. Her lips were blue. I noticed when I went down there. And so afterwards, I said, now, do you see that, you only ask to go to the bathroom when you really have to go during a swim lesson. You can wait until after. But if you really have to go, that's the only time you would ask. And I said, see, so you didn't have to ask again after I told you that. She goes, no, then I just went in the pool. I went, what? I mean, well, you win 5. You can't win for losing with kids, I think.
They had chlorine in there. It's all going to be fine.
Just go in the pool.
Good.
Yeah.
These things happen to the best of us. I can remember very clearly Connell's first swim lesson. Same thing. Went to a place and got in there. And this woman was like, it was so funny. It was such a indicative of, we lived in Los Angeles at the time. And it's like a woman who has a swimmer's academy, but it's like her personal pool in her backyard in the neighborhood. But all these neighbors had recommended her. Oh, she's the best. She's been teaching kids to swim for 40 years. And in fact, we had a neighbor who was also a mom who had learned to swim herself in this woman's pool. Like, this has been going on for decades. And the first day, you could tell she's a crusty old lady. She goes, if you're bringing your child here to be coddled, you're in the wrong place.
Oh.
Sink or swim is our methodology.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what, sink or swim? We're talking about children. What are you talking about? He's a toddler. And this woman was completely like,
Navy SEALs.
If your kid doesn't come up coughing a few times, we're not doing our job right. They have to learn first. We were just like, and we stuck. It actually went okay. He got through it without incident. But the first couple days were pretty dicey, and I was like, man, she had just dealt with so many mamby-pamby parents. She was just trying to cut it all off right at the pass. Let's separate the wheat from the chaff before I even get my feet wet here. And the kid's a pretty good swimmer, so I guess it all worked out. Could have been worse, I suppose. Hey, we are going to be playing a game here in a few minutes. Let's talk about this. We got tickets to see the Minnesota Wild versus the Ottawa Senators December 29th. What a nice thing to do in between Christmas and New Year's. Go take in a hockey game, and we're going to give away some tickets. But we have a game we want to play today. Let's just talk through how this is going to work, because this is our first time playing this particular game. There's a Christmas theme to this, I believe. Is that correct?
There is a Christmas theme to this. In fact, it's Christmas movies, and this seemed like a good idea on Friday morning when I was just a little drunk on the show.
Yeah.
Now I hate it. But I hate it. This is going to be a freaking disaster, I guarantee you.
That's perfect.
But you got to make an omelet. You got to break a few eggs here. All right, here's what we'll do. Can I give you guys an example, and you try to guess the example?
Please.
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Let's try this. All right, so what we're going to call it a switcharoo Christmas movie title. The old switcharoo. So I'm going to give you a Christmas movie title in opposite terms. All right, the opposite terms, and then you're going to tell me what the Christmas movie is. Ryder, if I say hate hypothetically, the movie would be
Love Actually.
Really?
Yes.
Did you peek at my notes?
No.
Wow.
Is that
All
it?
right.
That is my most hated Christmas movie.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's doubly
that
cool.
made it easy.
All right. We got Steve on the spot here. If I say...
I'm nervous already. I was hate hypothetically. I got completely confused.
I wouldn't have guessed any one of these. But, all right, if I say generously, the movie would be...
Generously?
Generously. The opposite of generously would be...
Stingily?
No, it's a made-up word is the problem with this one.
I got it.
You got it, Ryder?
Is it Scrooge?
It is Scrooged.
Boom.
Oh.
All right, so that's what we're gonna attempt here with two contestants that maybe had their Wheaties this morning, got a proper 8 hours of sleep. We're gonna try this for what? What are we giving away?
We got tickets.
Sweet
Got Minnesota Wild and the Ottawa Senators in the KQ Suite December 29th. Two callers, 651-989. Rock, load them up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Steve Gorman here. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, December the 9th. Good morning. Phil Collins just went through the ringer, didn't he? Man,
the poor guy.
Guy just was having some hard times back in the day, man. I hope he's feeling better now.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Monday, December the 9th. Great to be with you all on a Monday morning as we're rolling through the month of December. We've got a hockey game December 29th, speaking of which. The Ottawa Senators coming to town, and we've got a couple tickets to the KQ Suite at the XL Energy Center. We'd love to give away. Callers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK. We'll play a game. Winner take all. Both tickets going to the winner of today's game. Get on the horn. Get yourself locked in to play this bad boy. And while we're getting that set up, do want to say a quick good morning shout out to our friends in South St. Paul.
Yeah.
South St. Paul.
Which I don't think is the most southerly of the St. Paul neighborhoods. For some reason.
No, oddly enough, it's in Northeast St. Paul, but we call it South St. Paul. Why not?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I think they used to have a gun club over there I used to go shoot at along the river, but now I don't remember, but I think the old address was South St. Paul. Good morning.
Shout out to Bill who puts our podcast together.
Lives in South St. Paul?
Lives in South St. Paul. Says it's too small, that we shouldn't have to. Says he can't think of anything. He often lies to people and says he lives in Cottage Grove. Bill.
Right on,
from
Bill.
South St. Paul.
Man,
all right. Sounds good.
That flag at half-mast, Bill. Well done. Appreciate that. So we've got a couple callers that looks like ready to play a game. That's very exciting. And if you heard us a few minutes ago, you got a little preview of what's about to happen. But we got a game we're playing it for the first time. Let's get into this. What do you say?
The old switcharoo Christmas movie title game show. We will give you the name of a Christmas movie in its opposite form. You know, as I mentioned, hate hypothetically, Ryder, and you quipped back very quickly. The movie is
Love Actually.
And generously would be
Scrooged.
That's it. I think we've got the hang of it. Let's see if we can't torture a couple listeners this morning.
Oh, I'm sure we can. All right, we've got a couple people locked and loaded. First contestant number 1 is Cheyenne from Burnsville. Good morning, Cheyenne.
Good morning.
Cheyenne, give me your favorite band.
My favorite band is probably going to be the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're just so good.
Oh, and your breakfast burrito? I love them.
What?
Oh, man.
Cheyenne, give me your favorite team, any sport.
Probably going to be the Vikings, you know? Love, hate, but love them to death.
No, hey, man. Oh, it's a good time to be a Vikings fan. 11-2 with the Bears coming to town. It's
I know.
It's
It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah. This is Apex Vikings time right now this week. Let's enjoy it. Contestant number 2, we've got Joseph from Minneapolis. Joseph, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Joseph, give me your favorite band.
It had to be Nick Drake.
Nick Drake. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're singing my song. I'm a total Nick Drake jerk from way back. I love Nick Drake.
Okay.
Give me your favorite.
Drake is great, isn't he?
Stop.
Yeah, I love his Pink Moon.
Drake. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
Oh, that Drake, he's so hot right now.
Stop. Don't you ever confuse Drake with Nick Drake.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sort of thing. I break out in hives at the thought. Joseph, give me your favorite. Give me favorite team, any sport.
I like rugby. I like Scottish national team, especially during the Six Nations.
Oh, there's.
Okay.
I
By
mean,
the way,
it's a big tent here at KQ. We got a big tent.
The first time a guy calls in and says Nick Drake, of course he's going with the Scottish rugby national team. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. Well, we're going to play the old switcharoo Christmas movie title game. Cheyenne's up first. Zepp, take it away.
All right, we're going to go back and forth. We're going to ping pong here. All right, Cheyenne, this is the opposite of this movie title. If I say Live Soft, the movie is
Die Hard.
Yeah. Let's see this. Somebody better get a. I think I might have actually a tiebreaker. These might be easy for these two folks. So we're around to Joseph. The movie, the opposite is Away Together.
Away Together?
Yeah.
Away Together? That'd be like Together Away.
Well, I mean, but the opposite. Think of the opposite word of away and the opposite word of together. Yeah. Away.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
Hey, right.
Got an echo there.
Yeah.
Joseph. All right, back to Cheyenne. One for one, both of you. Here we go. Cheyenne, The Heat Woman. The Heat Woman.
Oh, Heat Woman. Is it?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, is it like Cold Man? I don't know.
All right, let me give you. No, the Heat Woman might have been a little off. This is my first shot at this. What if I say The Rain Woman? The Rain Woman.
Rain Woman.
Would be.
I'm trying to think of something Christmassy with that.
Yeah, you got the man part right. That's opposite.
Snowman?
The Snowman, yeah. There you go. You got it. I didn't even know the movie, but
Okay.
someone
Snowman.
suggested it to me. All right, you got it. All right, there you are. You're 2 for 2, Cheyenne. Joseph. Here it is. The opposite of It's a Terrible Death.
Oh, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, it is. Not bad, right? Okay, so far so good.
I'd rather watch It's a Terrible Death, honestly. I think in the 80s it was called Faces of Death, and you used to have to know someone who knew someone.
Oh, my God. In the dorm room, I remember in the dorm lobby, we all got together for that one, and it did not disappoint.
No.
I think we're back to Cheyenne now.
Yep, we are.
Cheyenne, Black Midsummer. Black Midsummer. The opposite.
Just White Christmas?
Yeah, it's White Christmas.
Hey.
Yeah, that's the opposite right there.
You don't want to overthink these.
No, I think
you can get into trouble.
I think we're definitely going to need a tiebreaker here because don't let us down, Joseph. This is your final one. Joseph, the opposite Christmas movie, Giant.
Elf?
That's it, Elf. Bang, bing, bang, boom. All right, I'm going to make this harder next time. I didn't know we'd get a couple of brainiacs on this morning. All right, well, that brings us to our tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker is how many Christmas movies have been made and released in America in English, not subtitled, not across the world, but in English have been made and released here in America. How many Christmas movies all time, including the Hallmark Channel?
Cheyenne.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Cheyenne, give us a number.
400.
Okay. All right.
400. Joseph, what do you think?
I'm going to say 55.
Yeah, it's that damn Hallmark Channel really boosted the number to 636. 636. Yeah, Christmas movie. Well, they crank out like one every day during the Christmas season, like an advent calendar.
That Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, the Hallmark Channel. You know it. All right, well, there we go.
Cheyenne, congratulations. You got the tickets. You're going to see the Wild and the Senators December 9th at the XL Energy Center in the KQ Suite. Joseph, sorry to say you didn't come up with the tickets this time. Better luck next time.
Okay.
Always happy to talk about Nick Drake. Thanks for the call, brother.
Yeah, check him out. Thanks.
You got it.
Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, no, that Christmas movie, I was a little shocked myself when I Googled it, but went to a couple of different sources. It's either 636 or 617, but whole hell of a lot of Christmas movies you haven't seen.
That's it's a pretty good business, that of the Christmas movies, because the pitch for every one of those movies, it's pretty much well, okay, you got a guy and he's it's December and right then you're in. Well, yeah, we already got the set design figured out. We know what they're going to be wearing. We'll get some snow falling. We're good to go.
It's like being in a band and releasing a Christmas tune. You know, it's going to hang around every year. It's going to come back and make you a few bucks. Now, I don't know. Did the Black Crowes, did you guys ever cover or make a Christmas song? I don't know.
One. In 2005, oddly enough, we covered a song. I believe it was a Clarence Carter song called Backdoor Santa.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely the song we sang. I'm trying to think if it was.
It
was Clarence Carter. We did it in. We were in Los Angeles on tour, and we had a day off, and we just went into the studio with George DeCoulius, the guy that had originally signed us back in 1989, and we did Backdoor Santa. And I think it was put into a movie somewhere along the way. I'm not really sure what the point was. It was like, hey, it was just one of those things. We just knocked it out. I probably did 2 takes, and it was like, yeah, that works. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Get it. Put the bass line on there. Do this. It was in and out. In a matter of an hour, probably 2 hours. But it was fun. It's a good track. It sounds good now. When I hear it, I'm always like, hey, man, we were kind of on something there.
Yeah, I'm going to track it down if I can. Maybe we'll have to do an opposite old switcheroo with Christmas songs. What would be the opposite of Backdoor Santa? Never mind.
The front room Easter Bunny? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to give it some thought.
I tell you what,
we made it through this one.
I tell you the worst. Speaking of Santa and Easter Bunny, the kind of things you just never forget. Connell Gorman, whatever. I don't know, 6 maybe.
Yeah.
Comes in one day and you can tell he's just got the weight of the world on his shoulders. What's the matter, bud? Everything okay? He goes, I'm just thinking about something. I don't think Santa's real. And we're like, why don't you think that? He goes, well, so-and-so said this, and his older brother told us, and he said that everybody, that I'm old enough now, I should know. And, of course, I'm immediately planning to go murder a 9-year-old on the street. But I said, well, and he goes, I just want to know the truth. And I said, well, what do you think? And he's like, well, I want him to be, but it is kind of silly to think he could come down the chimney and that he goes all the, and I said, yeah, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to. We just had that moment of, we said, listen, you know what? Here's the deal. And we laid it on him. And he really appreciated us trusting him with this information. Yeah. And we said, it's very important that you not tell Marley. She still has a couple good years of Santa Claus. He's like, oh, no. And he took that to heart. He didn't tell her. He felt like, I'm a big kid now. I can help protect the innocence of my little sister's love of Santa Claus. And it was all good. And he stood up And he was like, boom, like within the conversation ends, and within a minute you can see like the relief. I got clear information. My parents treated me like a big boy. They trusted me with this. This is great. And he started to walk out of the room, and all of a sudden he spun back around and he goes, "Does this mean the Easter Bunny?" And it just all of them, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, all
it smelled like Domino's.
Oh man, he just put that together, and I was like, you just couldn't stop thinking about it, could you?
He's a thinker.
Just couldn't leave it alone the way you were supposed to. Damn it. Oh, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Hey, tough news from MDOT. Apparently, Frosty the Snowman, if listening to Frosty the Snowman, the song itself, if you find it on the radio while you're driving, change that station, ladies and gentlemen. Danger. Frosty the Snowman is dangerous in the car. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning. It is December the 9th. I just feel like I ought to mention it. Yesterday, December the 8th, of course, the 44th anniversary of John Lennon's death. Still, every year that passes, I'm like, God, I mean, he was only around for 40 years, and now it's been 44 years. But, of course, we all, anybody that was around on December 8th, 1980, remembers exactly where they were and when they heard about that. And I heard some John Lennon songs yesterday driving around. And of course, because it's December, the first one you hear almost always is, "So This Is Christmas." There it is. Bang, it hits. A Christmas song I've never gotten tired of. That one's never worn out its welcome with me. Happy Christmas War is over. I can hear it. I can hear it anytime, which is kind of the exact polar opposite, if you will, of Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You." And it's not that I think it's a bad song. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, well, she wrote a good one. I mean, that sounds like it's been around forever. But she put that bad boy together sometime, in the early 90s? I never would have imagined it would get to the place now where I break out in shingles when I hear it start.
Yeah.
But that's just me. These things happen. But
I know it's very out of fashion now to dig anything Marilyn Manson, and why would you, I guess, given his behavior. But have you heard the mashup with Marilyn Manson and Mariah Carey's Christmas?
That reminds me, we had neighbors back in the day that had Rosemary and I, they had a big white French poodle, and they would walk. This couple walked their dog, I'm not exaggerating, 12 times a day. Just to the block and back, like 10 minutes tops every time. But I mean, it was every hour you'd see them walk by and walk back, like constantly. And the dog was always pulling on its leash. It was never under control. And they were friendly enough people, but every time they would walk by, I would sing "The Poodle People, the Poodle People," and that was my Marilyn Manson tribute to these folks. And it would just happen. And then we got to know them a little bit. And then, of course, that gave way to the fact that I was at Target once, and I saw them in the store, obviously without their dog. The dog's name was Maggie, and I looked right at them. I said, "Hey, John, hey, Maggie, how's it going?" I called the woman Maggie. I couldn't. I just did. I went about my business, and I was driving home, and I went, I just called that woman her dog's name. And she was too polite to correct me. So there you have it. But the Poodle People were just up and running. They were just nonstop all the time. But speaking of great Christmas music, thank you again for that, Zepp. That changes my feelings for "All I Want for Christmas Is You." An old classic, "Frosty the Snowman" by Gene Autry is the number one song that Insuranceopedia, a company that looks at driving habits, says number one song you don't want to have on. The song most likely to cause you to have an accident, because songs with over 120 beats per minute lead to dangerous driving habits. This has long apparently been established. If you're listening to fast music, you're driving a little faster. You're driving a little more recklessly. It just opens up that 16-year-old I'm going to live forever mindset in driving.
Yeah. I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people listening this morning wishing they could go faster.
Oh, yeah.
Proper studio sleigh bells are heavy, and man, there's nothing you never. Trust me, I'm a drummer. I'm not a percussionist. Shake a tambourine for 4 minutes and get back to me. It sucks. And then if you add sleigh bells, you got to have those. You got to have a can of spinach down your gullet before you rock a whole sleigh bell track. I've learned that one the hard way. But also on the list, we mentioned All I Want for Christmas Is You. That's 150 beats per minute. Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano is at 149. All these guys just messing with us. But as I mentioned earlier, Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon. That doesn't feel like a fast song. It's but the tempo is actually up there. It's 146 beats per minute. So even John Lennon, always a bit of a troublemaker, always turning up the heat in a way you wouldn't pick it up on.
Yeah, you're right.
So again, really, the lesson, as always, is be careful what you listen to when you're driving, especially with the bad weather and the holidays. We don't want to have, traffic accidents around the holidays, and we don't want to have to play that god-awful song about the bus crash where that poor guy.
No, that's coming yet, babe. You just wait.
No. We're gonna make you work for that one. It's gonna be there, but between now and Christmas, you'll be hearing that one, the greatest Christmas song of all. That terrible Bus Number 5,
I was just listening.
It is.
I just got it out and dusted it off this morning. But what I'm hearing you say, Steve, is don't, when you're in your car, be listening to that crappy Christmas music, whatever stations are playing that. Just stick with good old classic rock. Yeah. And nice and steady, right down the middle of the road. Or middle of the lane, rather, yeah. Screw the Christmas music.
KQRS, we get you home in one piece. That should be the slogan around here. Our music. Hey, KQRS, our music won't kill you. All right, I like that. Now we're talking. We're talking. With the holidays upon us, a lot of us, not so much maybe us at our age, but younger adults will be heading home for the holidays. They'll be spending time at their childhood homes with their parents, in their parents' house, I should say. This is an odd one. 52% of single people going home for the holidays say that they hope to hook up in their childhood bedroom. It's a right. I guess it's a rite of passage. The people who want to go back to their parents' house and hook up in their childhood bedroom, you guys realize you're only saying that because you never did it when you should have.
Right.
You're going back and you're trying to make up for lost time.
Yep.
52% of people in this poll said, "Oh no, I hope I get to hook up in there." You get back at home, you get the old twin size bed, you look up, you got your Hot Wheels on that little shelf your uncle gave you when you were 7. You got a Led Zeppelin poster or a Gardens of the Galaxy poster. Hell, I don't know what's on your wall, and then I don't recall having that thought when after I'd left home and after I was kind of on my own, going back to my mom's house. I wasn't thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to get back in there. But because I was appropriately, when I was still a kid in high school, I was getting busy at wherever I could.
Yeah,
as often as I could.
That's when you do it. Heck, when I went home, my old bedroom was Mom's new sewing room. That just wouldn't have had the same feel if I was in there with, and you get a needle somewhere and then, feelings get hurt.
Sure.
I will say this topic did come up at one of the Zepp Christmas get-togethers. Of course it did. After we're about 18 beers in, a lot of Christmas cheer was going around. And my sister confessed to not only doing it at the house, later on in her life, but all of our rooms were repurposed. Mom was big on You're moving out? We're using the room for something else.
Good
sure.
for her.
My sister did it in Mom and Dad's room.
Oh!
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a horse with a different color.
Yeah, that's not what Mom said. She didn't use the word wow, Ryder. Party over.
She
over.
She didn't say that's a horse of a different color. She said that's a whore of a different color.
Oh, my God. My dad said, come on, Brian, let's go flip the mattress. I was like, Ange, I bowed to thee, Angie.
I I went to my mom's house in the late 80s with a girl I was seeing at the time. This was the one. All of my stories about that crazy person I dated. It's all one person. I had one legitimate crazy girlfriend, and chances are she had one legitimate crazy boyfriend that was me. But it depends on your context. But the one, and we went up to my mom's house one time. And got in late at night. My mom's already asleep, and she really she was like, "Come on, let's." And I'm like, "What? No, it's a small house. It's really the walls are paper thin." But to her, it was like a thing. Like, "Oh no, my God, this is really hot." And she was so excited by the prospect that it actually turned me on. I was like, "No, this is now just weird." Like if you hadn't said anything, if we had just been sitting here for a minute, yes, we could have done it. But the fact that she was so like. I mean, talk about visions of sugar plums dancing in her head. I was like, yo, back off. This has gone from kind of hot to really, really, really strange.
What if she called you daddy?
Then that would have been absolutely the coldest bucket of water thrown on my crotch in the history of all time. I have mentioned her in the past. This was this happened on the second of two consecutive got back together because I needed her car to get my drum kit to an out-of-town gig.
I love this one.
The relationship was doomed from the start, but then you break up, and then suddenly you're like, wait, what do you mean we don't have the van to take a road trip? I know somebody who my drum kit fits perfectly in that Volkswagen Jetta. Let me get back together with her. Yeah, it was never. It was. In hindsight, I could have done things a little differently. I'll admit to it. These things happen.
You live and you learn, and you got to the gig on time.
Oh, absolutely. Make no mistake about it. I mean, got in on time, really played poorly, drank too much, and got right out of there. It was great. That's kind of how that was back at the time. Hey, you know what? We got a couple things coming up here on our top 5 at 9, including, wait for it, a concert announcement. This is good news for one and all. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Moments ago, we were discussing the fact that a lot of people are looking forward to the holidays so they can go back to their parents' house and get their freak on. A lot of people looking to hook up back in the old familiar, the friendly confines of the twin bed back at home. And, of course, the KQ Talking text line lit right up. Just got to share a couple of these. Let's see. Tim wrote, I hooked up with my girlfriend and her best friend in my bedroom at home.
Yeah.
Of course, that was some 30 years ago.
Well, I mean, it counts.
I'm proud of you, Tim.
Yeah, there's no statute of limitation.
All the way home. Oh,
man. Yeah.
Sleigh bells indeed. Sleigh balls. John in Somerset. Happy Monday, gang. Hold on. I had a 3-way with 2 cheerleaders in my high school bedroom. My mother moved away after I turned 18, and I rented the house for the year after. Yeah, I bet you did. You get more rent when you let people know just what kind of activity they can expect in that house.
Wow.
Jeez, that's a selling point, is it not?
I mean, dear penthouse.
Yeah.
Every year I shine up my jingle bells.
Well,
I never thought I'd be writing a letter like this. I never thought anything like this could happen to me.
Yeah, right.
And then John texted in, want to meet Zepp's sister.
She'll drink you under the table.
Oh, man. But you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of laughs with every consecutive drink. It just gets better and better.
Yeah, she is a good time. She's not an angry drunk. That's me.
No, right. Well, as long as every family's got one. And if you don't know who it is, well, it's you.
It's me.
Hey, you know what? Let's jump into the top 5 at 9. Stories that we think you need to know about to get your day off in the right. Check this out. Just announced June 17th, 2025 at the XL Energy Center. James Taylor and his all-star band.
Wow.
Right on. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Sweet baby James coming back to town. I don't know all the members of his all-star band, but I do know, at least last I heard, Steve Gadd still drumming with James Taylor. And oh, daddy, that is an all-star drummer right there. That's as good as it gets. JT, June 17th at the XL Energy Center. I've seen him before, and he puts on a great show.
I might be more excited about this than AC/DC because until 5:53 this morning, I had no idea what I was going to get Mom for Christmas. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor ticket.
Yeah. That
She's
nails
gonna
it.
Be thrilled. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and he ages. I mean, because I don't know how old he is, 106 now, I think. But my point being is James Taylor will sound the same at 106 as he would at 26.
When he sings How Sweet It Is, I always think about his voice when he goes, "It's like jelly, baby." It's like, man, dude still just kills it. Fantastic. All right, that's exciting. Number 4 on your top 5 and 6. Delta Airlines is a traveler's best friend in ways that you might not expect. A gentleman returned home to Florida from Atlanta a couple months ago and found out Delta had his best interests at heart. He checked his golf clubs, and when he got them back, he realized, oh no, Delta, they're literally looking out for my best interest. They're doing me a solid. Here is the traveler, John Andre, discussing what went down with his checked golf clubs.
Then I realized when it came around again, oh my God, these are my clubs. The freight guy said they dragged it. Of course, they wore through the protective covering. Then they started to spark. Then it caught everything on fire. We have to make it right. And in that case, that means writing a check for the value of the clubs. That's all we're asking for. We got a phone call from Delta, and miracle of miracles, they apologize, and they're going to pay the claim in full.
A Christmas miracle.
A Christmas miracle. 2 thoughts right off the bat. First of all, they dragged your golf clubs across the tarmac, and they started to spark, and everything caught on fire. What was in the flask in your golf bag?
An accelerant.
Filed a claim. He detailed $4,000 in damages. Again, what was in the flask in your golf bag? $4,000.
I mean,
now granted, I've had the same clubs since 1992.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's just a quest. I'm just if I make it to 100, I'm never getting rid of these clubs. I ping zings, ask for them by name. You can't find them. I just change the grips every few years and keep moving, And it's funny because every time I play golf with someone I don't know, about the 3rd hole, they'll go, well, what's up with those zings? I haven't seen any of those in a long time. I'm not good enough to care about the new clubs. Come on, new grips is all I need. But $4,000, that seems a bit extraordinary for a bag of golf clubs.
I never want to own a set of golf clubs that I can't throw into the pond, that I can't whip into the creek, break a 5-iron over a tree or a buddy's leg or something like that. But, maybe these were cheap golf clubs, and he thought, well, they're so destroyed. Got them at secondhand golf or something like that. Maybe just cashed in on Delta. Remember, Delta was just this past summer. There was a golf team sitting on a plane taking a Delta flight. I believe it was Delta. Maybe I'll Google this and owe Delta a big apology. They look out the window and they see the guys loading the bags, and they're just launching their golf clubs onto the tarmac, like 20 feet. Just bang, bang. They had damaged golf clubs all over the place, and not a good look, but yeah.
Well, my new thing is anytime I just shank a 6-iron with a slice, I'm going to go, ever since I checked it, that club's not been right. I got it off. I think the baggage handlers did that to that club. I filed a claim once, not over golf clubs, but when on tour in the 90s, we had a road case that was transferring from one airport to another. We were flying our own gear, like you do on a cargo plane. And a wardrobe case was stuck on a tarmac, and they put covering over all of our cases because it started to rain. One case was uncovered, and it had all my stage clothes in it.
Oh.
And my stage clothes were just suits. I just had I used to wear a bunch of different things, all suits. And then it went to a place in Europe, and it waited 2 weeks, wet and closed. When the crew opened it up, I just had a full case full of moldy clothes. And I was like, I saw it. I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And then someone said, hey, you just got to fill out a claim. And I couldn't believe how much those clothes were worth.
Armani's, every one of them. I don't know.
Holy
smokes.
It's
the most expensive suit I could think of, but yeah.
Man, well, my sister was a costumer on Broadway. She can make anything, give her like a yard of fabric and a needle and thread, and she'll make you something. She's just an amazing seamstress. And so I had a couple suits I liked, and I said, hey, just make a bunch of ththese real cheap. They just have to look good on stage. I'm never going to wear them. They have to look good from 30 feet away. And so I had all these great looking suits, but you didn't want to get too close to them. But anyway,
your mohair suit and electric boots.
Exactly, that's exactly right. But they handed me a form and they said write in everything, and and I wrote in every damn thing. Just saying. Number 3 on your top 5 and 6. Hey, go Gophers. The Minnesota Gophers, for the 6th time in 8 years, will be bowling. They are going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
PJ Fleck, 8 seasons, 6 bowl games, 5-0. 6 in the last 8, 5-0 in bowl games under PJ Fleck. And now they're going to play against Virginia Tech from the ACC. Virginia Tech's always a tough team.
Yeah.
It's exciting. The Mayo Bowl, as Ryder's awfully excited because she knows at least one person will leave that field covered in mayonnaise.
Well, if it's PJ Fleck, yeah, we hope it's PJ, Coach Fleck, right? But he's got the bald head. That'll just shine it up. He probably uses a little mayo on that dome just to get that good shine for under the sun over there at Huntington Bank Stadium. Is it Huntington? I can't remember.
It is.
I think it is. I feel like it is. Yeah.
January 3rd, Friday, January 3rd, Minnesota versus Virginia Tech, 6:30 p.m. from Bank of America Stadium in North Carolina. That's the home of the Carolina Panthers. The difference between the Mayo Bowl and what normally happens there is at least there's a chance someone's going to win. Whichever team is designated a home team has a chance of winning, unlike the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, unlike I remember being in a small Division III school and getting that extra bowl. We got to actually play bowl games, and we went to the Metrodome Classic. Got to come play in big old Minneapolis. Moorhead stayed up there at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning when the Vikes weren't home. Yeah, the Vikes weren't home, so we played at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Now, the night before, they had given our team, both teams, tickets to the Minnesota Gopher Michigan football game. 64,000 people there. Yeah. The next morning, we show up at 10 a.m. to play. There was about 80 people there. I think it was just a cleaning crew. It was awfully... Hello.
Did you say you played against Moorhead State?
We want Moorhead. We want Moorhead.
That's the old chant. That's the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, my school. We used to be in the OVC with Moorhead State.
Yeah.
And every time, when Moorhead was next on your schedule,
that's right,
it would start, we want
Moorhead.
And as a kid going to school, I was still in high school, and I was like, this is like being in Animal House or something. There's no teachers or mat or anything. This is crazy.
No, right? Yeah.
That was amazing. Number 2 in your top 5 at 9. Oh, my God. We're still talking about the Ruby Red Slippers. 1939's The Wizard of Oz. Judy Garland wore 4 pairs of slippers throughout that movie. One of those pairs was at the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and in 2005, they were stolen. They were recovered 13 years later. Those slippers just went up to auction over the weekend. The company that was auctioning them off, called Heritage Auctions, estimated at least $3 million would be paid for one of the 4 pairs of ruby red slippers from The Wizard of Oz. $3 million, please. The fee was $28.5 million.
The hell, did the person that bought them know that they're not made of rubies? They make the same mistake that the gangster made?
I guess not. Including the Dallas-based auction house's fee, the unknown buyer will ultimately pay $32.5 million.
Holy hell.
$28.5 million for the slippers, $4 million for the auction house's fee. So let's see, what does that fee entail? Well, they had to receive a package from FedEx. They had to open a box. They had to keep them from being stolen for the last few weeks. And then they had to display them. And a guy had to stand there and go, $4 million going once, $4 million going twice. It's a hammer, and you pay him $4 million. That's good living if you can get it. My God.
I mean, is that guy still with us, the mobster, Terry John Martin? He's got to be... Remember, because he didn't get anything. He wanted one last big score. And now he knows that he had his hands on a pair of $28 million prop slippers. Dear God, the budget for the movie, by the way, I looked it up, $2.7 million, which was a lot back in 1939. The most MGM had ever spent on a film.
Well, sure. I mean, just moving from black and white to color alone must have cost, probably dozens of human lives spent, sacrificed in order to make that happen. That's how it was in the 30s.
Yeah.
Hey, quick shout out to our friends in Chanhassen. Not just everybody at Paisley Park, of course, but everybody in Chanhassen. Good morning. Glad to have you with us on a Monday morning. Certainly hope if you're on your way in, you take it easy out there. A lot of crazies out on the roads already. But Chanhassen, you're on our mind, baby.
Yeah, the old Chanhassen Dinner Theater. We're not going this year, but for about 5 years in a row. They always do Irving Berlin's White Christmas there. And I think it's probably running right now, but Mom would always come to town. That was a big highlight because Steve, you also get dinner before the show. Which blew my mom and dad's like, that's how you got Dad. What? That's how you got Dad into a play. Dad, they're serving brisket before. Oh, I guess. All right, I'll go.
Yeah. I saw one dinner theater. I had one dinner theater experience in my life, and it was The Man of La Mancha. I don't remember much about it other than thinking, I was like 12, and I was like, man, this shrimp cocktails. What a concept. I'm kind of digging that, man. I get a shrimp and a piece of steak, and I'm going to watch a show? Get out of here. What Man of La Mancha, is that To Dream the Impossible Dream maybe comes from there? Or maybe, I don't know. It's one of those songs you've heard a bunch was from that play. And then the guy who starred in it, can't remember his name, but he had been on that TV show called Emergency in the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Don't remember his name.
No, of course not. Who cares? But he was on Emergency, so he had to be cool. Yeah. So, he was on Emergency, so he's got to be good. Check this out. Number 1 in your top 5 at 9. Oh, hello, 11-2 Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold is now the talk. By the way, check out your national football media. Maybe not so much locally, but the big guns all around the country are suggesting the Vikings might need to really think twice before letting Sam Darnold do a hit-it-and-quit-it one-and-done season here. Right. He's clearly in the right place. 347 yards, 5 touchdown passes yesterday as Minnesota beats up on the, let's be honest, woeful Atlanta Falcons. But a very impressive performance from Sam Darnold. Kirk Cousins comes back to Minnesota to throw 2 brutal interceptions. No touchdowns yet again. Kirk Cousins walked in to boos, walked off the field to cheers. Once the crowd knew we'd beaten him, it's like, we love you, Kirk. Not really sure why anybody booed him. The Vikings didn't want him back. It's not like he, it's not like he shanked us on his way out of town. And this team would, safe to say, not be 11-2 were he the starter. So it's all good. Coach O'Connell after the game was all about one guy, Sam Darnold.
Guy's been on one now for a few weeks, and he just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And now if people don't understand now, I don't know what to tell you. All right? First Vikings quarterback in 20 years to throw 5 touchdowns. Because he was 22 of 28 for 347, making plays all day long, leading us to a win again. 1-0 today. Win number 11. You guys are a special group. Sam Darnold right there.
Like I continue to say, man, just our fans, the way that they were able to bring that energy today was incredible.
It was definitely that. Speaking of bringing something incredible, the NFL is bringing the Chicago Bears here for next Monday night. The Bears, in case you're wondering how they're faring right now, if you're not paying attention, they played the Niners. San Francisco, worst season in years. They go out to San Francisco, the Chicago Bears, that is, yesterday at halftime. The San Francisco 49ers had gained 319 yards. That was 315 more than the Bears. The Chicago Bears had 4 yards of offense on 1 completed pass in the entire first half. I think 12-2 is a safe bet, to say the very least. Yeah. So we've got something to look forward to there. There is your top 5 at 9.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.